Is anybody there? Yes, there they are. What's up, guys? It's Grandpa Drew, and we're in Texas today for the weekend, or actually for 12 days. We have some of our favorite people. We're back for the MFG JGEN Conference. It's gonna be very interesting, so much equipment. It's gonna be awesome. We got Anthony on the camera. Dude, it's fun. It's 3-digit weather. It's gonna be 105, 110 this whole weekend. So we're gonna be toasting ourselves to death, but everything for Jesus. But yes, it's gonna be very interesting. So we got some cool stuff coming out. So check it.
Yeah. They tryna mess with your mind or something. They tryna play with your grind or something. They wanna see you back off of your calling, yet they tryna mess with your shine or something. For lack of a vision, and people could perish, commit to the climb, even when it hurts. Only two things are like
heavy, but we work out. All right, start with this one or the little ones. We also got to rent a lot of cool equipment, at least in the side of photography. We rented out a Nikon Z9, which I was super excited for because I've been trying to get my hands on that camera since it first got announced. This is something I've been waiting a very long time to shoot with. Now the Z8 is nice, but they didn't have it available when we were first building the list. It hadn't come out yet. I think it had just been announced, but this is the Z9. I've heard semi-good things about this. So there was a lot of good equipment, a lot of professional equipment, and it's good because it kind of gives everyone a chance to play with gear that maybe you don't normally get to see every day. This is a very questionable rental option, and shout out to Kim because she loves this lens. Not really, she was mad that I got this. This is a 58mm Noct from Nikon at f/0.95s manual focus. This is a very saucy, exquisite, and very expensive lens. This is probably about maybe 6-8 grand still. I got to shoot with it a couple of times. It was just since the aperture went so low and it was so heavy, and guess what? That lens also had no autofocus. So imagine shooting a conference with a lot of moving subjects and you gotta time yourself and manually rack that focus to even get your subject nice and sharp. This is another girthy piece of glass.
85.
This is the 85 1.2. This is Kim's, Z mount, Nikon obviously. Kim's favorite, and I probably most likely will not see this lens the whole conference because Kim will be shooting with it. So this year what we did different, especially with photo, was I brought in Kim. Kim is someone that I've worked with for the last 11 years within my photography journey. She knows how I work. She inspires me too because she's such a great photographer. And I just needed someone that was really creative and that could do justice to what we were trying to do in that conference. So I wasn't just delivering content, but helping train the team as we were going. And she's someone that she's a great teacher. She has a beautiful heart when it comes to growing with volunteers and working with teams, and just a great fit. It was a great fit overall. So part of what we like to do, especially when Kim and I are in the same place, working the same events, is that we're trying to introduce as much creativity but innovation as we can. We had a lot of filters, a lot of crystals that we were using to refract the light that was coming in from the stage.
4, 5.
I got no other menu.
6, 7. No sponsorship to Prime FX, but you know, we're good.
So we try to introduce things that are not normal within conference coverage, and we try to bring a very creative twist to the photography. So there's a lot, and that could be for anything, for a social media post or even for a YouTube thumbnail. So we try to bring that innovation and that creativity in all the aspects of the coverage when it came to photography for the event. Which is your favorite one?
Okay, I haven't shot with it yet,
So we did
but I'm excited to see how this one is because it creates a halo effect to wherever the lights hit.
Oh, that's nice.
And then there's the radiant effects one. So instead of a star filter, it's more of a burst. Does it look?
Oh yeah, that's really nice. That's
there we
super
go.
cool.
And then obviously the trusty glasses. These can never go wrong. A little fake mirror. And then the trusty old one that always makes you bleed because you get cut so much by it. I mean, there's a lot more. We got star filters, split.
How was this TV?
It's usually better for like wide shots. And then this one's eh. But it's a rose filter.
Here, put it on.
Gives a little bit of a pro mist effect with a rose. And then the lucid dream. It makes everything so soft.
Yeah, I just
Like
noticed it.
super soft. But I like how it's blue. It's a special edition. What does it smell like, Andrew?
It smells like debt.
We got the prescription drugs here. We got some 2 Sinistos for you. And then 120s, we got everything else 35s. We got 2 black and whites, 1 portrait 100, and then everything else is mine.
This time around, it wasn't just photo that changed, but I saw Anthony do things differently too. He spent a lot more time inside. As soon as I go, close the door. Action! Shooting to making sure that the things that we had requested, especially things that were being requested from the social media team, were covered.
Here's what we have with the rig. We have our personal baby, the FX3, with an RS2 and the advanced ring, which is super cool. I'm a little bit bummed out that the rental house that we rented this from didn't have any of the modules, because it would have helped with a lot of this.
That is so dangerous. Someone needs to take this away from here. Okay. No, get these cookies away from the desk.
Bro, they won't be there.
Because Anthony and Maudi and Steven thought it was a great idea to set up a camera inside the temple where the conference was happening, and have someone manning that camera, and that camera was actually hooked to the editing room where we were running an ISO program, and we had someone from social media cutting reels from that throughout the whole day. So we were putting out moments really quickly. So it was a really good idea, and I think that kind of shows that the creativity, but it also shows, hey, like, we need to be more efficient this year. And I think that was something that allowed us to be efficient. And I think having Anthony outside with the rest of the video team shooting and not spending so much time editing like he did the first time around was very good, because I think it also allowed him to kind of see where the volunteers were at, if they had grown from the last time that we were here in the training. And it allowed him to, you know, if things happened in there, he could help out, he could make some adjustments, he could even train while he was shooting. So I thought that was a really good idea, and it allowed us to keep up. I mean, social media hit us hard. There was a lot of requests. We had a whole board full of social media requests that were coming in. So it was imperative for us to be in the field there with everyone else shooting because of all the things we needed to capture.
It is
I had enough for gas.
10:43 Texas time.
It is door time.
Pow, pow, pow. And this is officially the end of day 0. Setup day complete. Everyone's tired. I got baggy eyes, and they're shooting our bands on me, so that means it's time to go. So we're gonna see everyone bright and early tomorrow. This is my lover. Let's go. Buenos dias. Good morning.
The first day of any conference is going to be the tough one, because there's like it's like breaking the ice.
Day 1 of the JGEN conference, a little bit more organized than what we did yesterday. Yesterday we were running around setting everything up.
Almost go on your first date, like you're trying things out, you're trying to see, you're playing it careful. You're not trying to take as much risk.
Usually that day is extremely hectic, and it's supposed to be hectic, so if it's not, then there's an issue. Andrew and I still have a job to do here, so we're gonna try to keep it balanced of,
I mean, as the day goes by, you kind of let loose a little bit.
bringing us along, showing you guys the behind the scenes of what we do and how we work and the people we work with.
You start getting a lot more creative, you let innovation kind of flow, and that's good. But what we don't want is sometimes to become so programmed to just following one discipline where we don't allow creativity to flow.
As we help guide this team and, you know, try to help them grow. So Andrew and I are super excited. I hope you guys are excited as well, and stay tuned.
For the hardest and the darkest, for the furthest and the lowest, for the masses, for the one. You gave everything for the hardest and the darkest, for the furthest and the lowest, for the masses, for the one. You gave everything for the hardest
workflow was pretty interesting because, like I said, we had, only 2 editors, which was Kim and myself, but we were very intentional about how we were setting up computers. Many don't know this, but working off hard drives is not really efficient because the hard drives tend to slow down the process. So what you want to do, you want to have as much free desktop space as you can, whether that's 100 gigs, 200 gigs, preferably almost 2 terabytes worth of space, rather than working from an external hard drive and then you're filling that thing up and it's going to scream for help maybe even a few hours into the conference. And if you have 3 shooters, 4 shooters every session and each one is bringing 40 gigs worth of pictures, those hard drives fill up. So when we came to Texas and we went into the editing room, all right, how much space do your computers have? Oh, they only got 10 gigs left. Well, we need to transfer things out of there and the desktop needs to be completely empty. The way that it worked and the way that we had it set up for photo is that we would have an editor, a person culling or going through pictures, filtering, our filter person or ingest, and then we would have the runner. So the runner would go get the pictures for the photographer, so the photographer wouldn't have to leave from being inside covering, and the runner will come back. We would grab the cards, import them into the computer through Photo Mechanic. And as we would import to Photo Mechanic, it's cool because you can import to a primary and a secondary destination, and you can actually rename all the files as they're being imported. So that is what we chose to do. As the pictures were coming in, they were being renamed, and it was the name of the conference with the year along with the font in base. And from there we would just synchronize. And what's cool is that you could synchronize. We had 2 folders that we would move pictures into. We would have an edit 1 and an edit 2. And let's say if I got backed up on my edit 1 station, then I would just have Kim move into edit 2. So we could both be editing at the same time, or if I was the only one editing, she could be, labeling and going through pictures. So when I was done with my batch, I could have more to go through. One of the reasons why I thought it was going to be a good idea to just have Kim and I edit was because I wanted to provide a lot more in-depth feedback when it came to the volunteers and how they were doing. Like I said before, we were there before the conference to train the volunteers and do a couple live recordings for their worship team. So I got to see some improvement. But when you're spending a whole weekend with the people that you're working alongside with and those that you trained in the past, I think it did it a lot more justice for Kim and I to stay back and edit and kind of take that hit a little bit because we love to shoot and be able to look at everyone's work and provide good feedback and maybe even adjustments to help them become better photographers, help them with their timing, help them with their positioning. Some of them needed more help when it came to the technical side of things. So being behind those computers allowed us to help in their development. Some of the challenges that we faced was that we were being backed up. A lot of times when you do have 4 photographers shooting, and the reason why we had so many is because we want to give everyone an opportunity to shoot. And sometimes people have school or they have work, and it happens, but it's worth giving people an opportunity to pick up a camera, go shoot and see what it's like inside. We want to give everyone that experience. So one of the challenges we had was that we were running behind on the social media schedule when it came to uploading to Smug. Workflow, like I said, is very important. So what's cool about Lightroom is that we use Smug when it comes to housing all of the photography that's being exported from Lightroom. And then from there, anyone with internet access on a phone or a computer can download all the pictures. So we label everything by sessions. Then we make specialized folders if it's for a VIP or for the green room specifically. So anything that social media might want, we have everything structured and labeled there. So we're importing, as we're editing, we're constantly importing through Smug, and we don't have to leave Lightroom because they have the SmugMug plugin there.
It is 9:29 p.m. We've been awake since 6 a.m. That's that production life. But I think it was awesome. Always happy to have a camera in my hand.
Sorry, I was cut into your video.
Amateur. You see what I have to deal with on a daily basis?
Professionalism.
Professionalism.
You're between the ages of 18 and 20.
You beat me. You see, start comparing shots.
I'm just kidding. Don't stop.
Let's go, come on.
It's not that
Look,
it
I
should
got
be a
you.
competition, but when you see your best friend or you see the person that you trained outperforming you, it kind of tells you like, hey, you have to step up your game. So she forces me in a way to do better and try crazy things. A lot of my greatest work has been when she's around. And just her presence alone, her creativity, it really motivates me to do better and try different things and get out of my comfort zone. So it's good having her there. It allows me to even grow as a photographer. I've seen a lot of growth by being around people who motivate me to up my game because they're so good at what they do.
And then I flipped the camera upside down, so I got to mirror her like this. And then the black and whites were good. I always like to do a couple black and whites. Very nice. Can't forget about the black and white. But my black and whites are always contrasted. Like I will put the dehaze plus 20, negative 20 on the blacks, negative 20 on, positive 20 on the contrast. I'll bring the shadows up to like plus 10, and then I'll push the highlights and the whites 20 up on both. And
What layer you want for multiple exposure?
Through worship.
I think additional.
And one of the aspects of worship.
But dude, look at
Come
the.
out so clean.
What can I say,
And one of the
sister?
ways that we sacrifice to God.
The double exposures are difficult because you're shooting at a really slow shutter, and a lot of it is movement and timing too.
There's one where, so whenever my subject is moving a certain direction, if they're moving to my left, right, the movement I make on the long exposure, I'm going right.
And sometimes that requires you to be in a spot for like 25 minutes and you look crazy because I'm holding my camera and all you see is I'm moving sporadically.
So I can get like that flash type of look. And they'll get stuff like this, which is our favorites. Kim and I do this a lot. And then you gotta get, so I like to include the objects in their environment. So she had her Bible open when she was dancing. So I try to go as low so I can include it. But these are favorites.
And a lot of people see that and they think it's funny because why would you be moving your camera that fast? So what I try to do is I shoot at a really slow shutter and I try to see where the light's going, and I might do a circular motion or a linear motion up or down to get me certain patterns of light. And then while being in the multiple exposure mode, I'm trying to capture the person worshiping or singing at the right time. That's all done in camera. None of that's done in Photoshop. That was all done in camera while the person's moving and I'm there looking like a crazy person trying to get a really good pattern of light.
These are some of my favorite shots. Nice black and white. I like these here. These are cool. This is my favorite one. And then I was able to do some more black and white. This one, I really like this one a lot. Me encanta mucho. And then I got to do something like these. So I redeem myself. I felt rusty all day today. It's obviously day 2. There's one more day left for the event.
Of the actual event.
Day 2 of the actual event. Tomorrow is.
Day 1 of the actual event is today. Tomorrow
Sorry,
day 2.
day 1 is today. My brain did the fax machine noise. And tomorrow is day 2. So tomorrow's the last day. I will probably walk around more with this camera, show you guys around, introduce more of the team, kind of show a bit more of the workflow. I know you guys have been seeing what we've been posting online, but thank you for following us on the day 1 adventures. And then tomorrow, last day, and you guys get to come with us. You're welcome. Alright, peace out. Day 1 tomorrow.
Just 2 years ago, Anthony and I were having conversations about focusing on different careers law enforcement, military. It sucks to think about that because it almost meant that we were gonna deprioritize the company. And this has been such a fight for us because when Maudi called, Anthony and I weren't even living in the same place. Anthony was here in Miami and I was up north 4 hours away. So we didn't have each other every day. And it sucked because if you know how we are, our strong suit is when we're together. And I remember I woke up that day frustrated, so angry with myself because there was nothing else that we could do. The business was barely operational. We didn't have money to cover the operating costs of the company. We didn't have money for food. We didn't have money to pay rent, to pay for the car, to pay for the insurance. I mean, we were about to lose everything. And I remember telling God, Lord, if we are still meant to be doing this, if this is still your will, if we are on the right path, give us a sign. Give me a sign. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. An email, a phone call, God, I'll let you do it. Not even an hour went by. And Maudi, who I haven't spoken to in years, calls me. I don't even know, I couldn't even believe he still had my number. And he tells me, hey man, I miss you. It's been such a long time. And then he tells me, hey, I have a project for you and your brother. And I was telling him that his timing couldn't have been more perfect. And I will never forget this. He tells me, man, we've been praying about this for a long time. And God finally put it in our hearts and made it possible to have you guys out. Our lives changed forever. I think being there shifted things for the business. And it was just meeting wonderful people, serving along people who are willing. You know, sometimes you don't really need people who are experienced, just their hearts just need to be there. And that makes a whole world of a difference. So that conference went amazing. Everyone's very happy with the finished product. We actually got to go back a few times to record a few live recordings for their worship teams and to train their volunteers, which we put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. I mean, think about the experience that Anthony and I have and things that we've been able to do, and then compiling that and just doing a whole week worth of training in the areas of photography, editing, anything you can think of when it comes to covering an event. I mean, we covered it from logistics to pre-production to post-production. So the relationship with Maudi, Steven, Pastor Danny and his wife really got established after that conference because it's amazing to see how much trust they gave us. Trust with their team, trust with their own projects. I mean, they put a lot of, they gave us so much access to every project they had open at the time. And we were shocked because no one has ever really allowed us to do that for them. And they gave us full freedom, full creative freedom over how the conference was gonna look, what type of content we wanted to put out. And it was really beautiful that someone could place that amount of trust in you and still say, hey, we don't want you guys to stress. We don't want you guys to overwork. Like, do what you need to do, but you're also here to rest. And it's cool because we weren't just there as contractors. We were there, like, we worked our butts off, but it was such a calm environment to be in. And that's mostly because of who they are as people. It's not so much about what we do, but who we do it with. And I'm glad that our lives changed because of the people that we were around, and they were the right people to be around during that time. So our mindset going into the first conference needed a little bit of shifting because we were just coming from a really bad situation. Financially, we were very discouraged. There was a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety on what was gonna happen next. And I remember that when we got to Texas, Pastor Danny said, there's something that God wants to do for you guys, which is why he brought you here. And as much as we brought you here as contractors to help us, I want you to know that the biggest priority is what God wants to do in your lives this time around. And I'm thinking, like, man, that's okay. We really needed to hear that because Anthony and I were ready to just go do something else. After 7 years of having the business open and struggling and not having enough money for food and eating cereal for a whole month, like, we were just very tired of nothing changing. So our mindset the first time around needed a lot to be worked on. So much to work on. I mean, and talking about mindset, the framework of your mind has to do a lot with how you perform creatively. A lot of the things that drain your creativity, anxiety, stress, comparison, the things that observe the place of God in your life don't allow creativity to flow.
Are we on?
Yep.
Okay, day 2, last day. It's 8:11. We've been up very early, and we're very excited. We debriefed last night, realized that there's some changes we needed to make, but I think that's part of leadership, is that you have to put yourself in a place where you have to serve other people, and you have a team, and you got people you need to worry about and tend to. So my biggest goal this morning, or you could say this whole day, is that if there is someone who needs to hear like, hey, good job, or you're doing good, or I'm so happy you're here, if there's an expression of love that needs to be put out, I hope that God puts that in our hearts to be able to facilitate that. So, and we'll probably walk you guys through some things today. I know you guys have been seeing a lot of Instagram stories of me specifying what each station is, but we'll do this for the vlog. So day 2, hope everything is going to be awesome. The last session, let's try to do what we need to do to get everything done early, so the last session we can all go receive. Okay.
And what's cool about these conferences is that since everyone's coming from all these different places, different teams, different churches, you get to see people that you don't normally see, and you get to serve alongside people that you only get to see maybe once a year because they only come for the conferences. And Anthony and I have a lot of friendships that we've built because of that. And sometimes you only get to see these people once a year. And I think that was one of the best decisions we made within the leadership, me and Anthony leading our teams, Maudi and Steven giving the okay, was having the whole team receive the last session of the conference. And it was good because you get to de-stress if you were stressed out, and you get to connect, and you get to see your life change. And the reason why we want to do that together is because it's a testimony. You're with the person that you've been serving the last 2 days or the whole weekend with, and then you're seeing that person's life change right in front of you. And I think that as leaders, we have to give that space where it's like, hey, you're volunteers, you're not numbers.
Junior, good job for asking questions yesterday, being persistent and trying to learn and grow. I was very happy to see you move around. You're very receptive to the things I was telling you yesterday while we were shooting. So very, very proud of you. Good job. You, good too. Saw you taking pictures yesterday of the shots you were taking. Good. That's always a good sign. That means that you're also you're impressing yourself. Your contributor is growing. One thing I want to acknowledge too is your heart. Yesterday I was telling you certain things, and I know yesterday you were about to leave, and I started talking to you, and you stayed, and you engaged, and you paid attention, even though I kept you from going. So kudos, good job. Kim, myself, and Eileen, we're very proud of you guys, and I'm grateful to be here amongst you guys. So something I felt from God yesterday to tell you guys is, technically your Sundays are your fun days, right? And what that means in production is free flow. So what I would like to do today, free flow. Today's your Sunday fun day. I want everyone to just be creative, have fun, and I want you guys to enjoy the people that you're with. Because the thing is this, after today, most of us leave back to wherever we're going. I won't see you guys, God knows, for maybe another month, 2 months. I want to enjoy being around you guys, but I want you guys to enjoy being around with each other. Some of you guys have work and you're busy and you don't get to see each other often. So remember that at the end of the day, yes, there's a job to do, but we will take that load. I want you guys to enjoy the people that you're with, enjoy the service. Something I did yesterday during the last session, I grabbed all my equipment, I went inside, and I was working from inside. So if you guys have to put the camera down, worship, I have no problem with that. Do it, engage, connect, synchronize yourselves to what's happening in the room. That's also your job as a creative, okay? So we came to a conclusion that for the last session, everyone should receive immediately, okay? So my goal is to have everything ready by the second to last session. So when the last session, before it begins, we're all gonna meet in there.
I think Pastor William Hinn is going to speak. Also, Pastor Daniel. I want everyone there. After that, I will make sure all the equipment is put away, every car was ingested, and we all go inside. Try to sit together as a team. I believe, and I've been fasting since the first day of this month, that God will do something, that He's gonna show up. But I don't think He's gonna show up at the end. I think He starts now, and by the time we get there, we're gonna all be on the floor. I want to make sure that you guys, whatever you've been hoping for, praying for, your businesses, it will happen tonight. And if you don't believe it, I believe it for you. She believes it for you, and she also believes it for you. Okay, so put an expectation that every session you walk in there, from right now, you will see God. You're going to see God through the person crying on the floor. You will see God through the person serving alongside you. These are your battle buddies, these are your war buddies who are in there. Don't rob yourself from hearing God and receiving from Him. Okay, our job is to be open, let God flow through you, and whatever you need God to do, believe that you're not, if there's something this is something, starting from you, what are you believing for today? Like, you can't leave this building today without God doing it.
The true revival of all the whole church.
Amen. Eileen?
Something new in our youth.
Amen. Junior?
Something new in my life.
Amen.
I'd like to see a revival and people receiving Jesus for the first time.
Awesome.
A shift for our team.
Amen.
To get over my anxiety.
Amen.
A new level of creativity with God.
Amen. Gabby, what are you expecting? Something God has to do before you leave this building tonight?
Like a new level of like creative and like I guess just more confidence in creativity and like what I produce.
Amen. So I think now that everyone has said it, not only what I'm shooting, I'm going to be believing for God to do each and every one of those things. And as you're shooting today, let God work in you. If you see that God put something in your head, if there's an emotion, if there's some expression that God wants to do through you or for you, allow Him to do it. I will watch out. If there's a moment that you feel just sit down at the altar with your camera and worship, that's fine. Okay? But if what you're believing for is for God to help you with the whole anxiety thing, He will do it tonight. And you won't leave this building without seeing it happen. So it's going to happen. I'm very excited for all of us. So let's make sure that by the second to last session, every card is in this desk and everyone is ready. We walk out of this room together. We came here together. We walk out of this room together. We go sit down together, and God will do something tonight. Amen?
Can I say something? Sorry. Also, just a reminder, like, everybody's obviously wanting to receive something, and sometimes we forget that us shooting, the same power that we believe that those pictures are going to have, we can receive as well. So people are receiving their freedom and their miracles and their answered prayers, and you're shooting that. You're also, that same spirit is behind that picture, so you're also receiving that freedom and everything. So remember that spirit, the same one that is upon them, those people, and we're trying to replicate so other people can see on any social media website, we can also receive that. So keep that in mind.
That's a good point. Believe that every picture you take will change someone's life. That's the mentality we shoot with today. Okay? So Eileen, anything you wanna say? No? Okay. Very happy for all of us being here together. I think most of us have come a long way, and I can tell even in this room there's a lot that God has to do in my life and all of our lives, and we won't walk out of this building without Him doing it, that's for sure. And if you guys just, again, enjoy it. Enjoy today, enjoy the people that you're serving with, okay? It's very important that we do that. I think, and this is me being accountable as also a leader, I think I've failed at some capacity, because when you got your word yesterday and you were receiving, your first initial reaction was to grab the camera. It's like, where's the camera? And I remember telling you, hey, like, just go be with your soon-to-be wife, like, go there. And I feel that that's something I messed up in, because I put mission first before God. So I shouldn't have done that. And I just want everyone just to be aware of the person next to you.
Okay, see what's happening in the room. If you need to cry, cry. Okay, if you need God to just do something, just close your eyes and say, God, even if you're frustrated. There's times where I walk into a room and I feel nothing. I feel nothing. I'm like, God, why? And the first thing I do, I close my eyes and I say, God, maybe I wasn't here yesterday. Maybe I wasn't here last month. Maybe we haven't spoken in a while, but for whatever it's worth, I'm here right now. And you use that and you tell God, I'm here now. I'm here, I give you everything. Let him speak to you to the shots. If you see an image, don't disregard it. That's God telling you, go get that shot. Okay? Focus. Be situationally aware of God. Make sure that you're open. See God in everything. Choose to see God in everything. Do the hugs. When you see someone gives you a hug, choose to see God. Every hug, every I love you, every good job that someone says today, from now to the last session, that's God prepping our hearts for what's going to happen tonight. So every affection, every expression of love that's shown to you, know that that's God softening your heart word by word by word by moment. So when we get to tonight, everyone's heart is where it needs to be. So don't disregard and I love you. If someone comes to give you a hug, go give the hug. I'm not going to be mad at you because there's a lot of people shooting. Let's not rob ourselves from having an experience. Ding, 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 ding.
I'm not even ready. Like the spirit of Dallas is falling upon me.
You look like you're wearing pajamas.
It's the comfort look.
Well, you saw the drum cage?
The what?
The drummer cage?
Oh no, you guys got the lights?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna check.
It's not gonna be dark no more.
I wasn't late.
Can we enter your cage?
One of the things that we try to do as a team is to not be so scattered around. So every time there's sound check before a set, before a worship set, or before a session, we try to regroup as a team doing the sound checks. We talk about needs. What do you guys need? If there's anything that needs to be improved, like how can we just make the next session better? And it's cool because everyone's telling you, hey, this looks really good, and we're here meeting up doing sound check, trying to make it even better. And I think that's the type of attitude that I love, because everyone wants to be there and everyone wants to make the experience for the person who drove 4 hours away or drove from another state, and just make that experience even a lot better. So it's cool to see, because Anthony and Maudie are usually the ones that are working in tandem with each other as the conference is going. Photo doesn't require as much attention, but Anthony knows so much. He knows a little bit about everything that Maudie is always having him around for creative input. And one of the requests, a friendly request from Steven, was hey, the drummer cage is pretty dark. What can we do? And I know that we had taken the IntelliText that we have and we just stuck it to the top with good old gaff tape, stuck it to the top, and everyone was happy. So it's cool to see that when you have two people that really want to fix a problem, or they really want to make a situation better, and then see that the consequence of that is people get more excited to shoot, especially in the locations where maybe it was too dark or it just didn't look good. So kind of that's really nice to see that Maudie always takes time to just decorate things and add just production value where there wasn't none before. And then the consequence of that is people just being happy that now they have an extra spot to shoot in. I think that's always been cool. Has anyone ever told you that you look like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings?
Aragorn and then Jared Leto a lot.
Really? There were times where I know things didn't go as planned for Anthony. I did see him coming from inside the temple to back to the edit room and just back and forth all the time, because his job, not just as the person that was leading video, was to make sure that all the requests, everything that we needed to capture was being recorded. But if the editors are falling behind, he would have to go and step in and get on a computer, and sometimes you lose a whole session doing that. But I think that that's what makes him a really good leader. It was what makes him a really good cinematographer or a really good video person to have there, is because he can do both. If he's needed inside and he's there training and shooting at the same time, he could also do the same thing in the editing room. So I know that he was running back and forth the whole time, and even throughout the vlog, I think you can see that. So I think that my relationship with Anthony while we work together is cool, because we know so much of each other and we know exactly how we think and what we like to do and how we like to set up certain things.
So it's cool that we got to work under two brothers, so Mauri and Steven, or Esteban, and they run the media team at their church. Their heart is just in the right place. Like every time they walk into the room, I'm thinking, oh my God, they're gonna tell me that something didn't get delivered or a picture didn't come out right. And every time they're coming to their room, it's, hey, do you need water? Do you want something to eat? And I think throughout the whole conference, me and Anthony didn't even have to worry about food because they were always ordering food for us. They were bringing always water in. And I'm here thinking like, man, they could be doing anything right now, looking at sound, making sure that there was no fire to be put out. And they were there, attentive of Anthony and I, if we needed something, if we needed extra SD cards. So their hearts are hearts of service. Anyone who knows how to serve people makes a really good leader, because that it's a biblical principle. It's a good example to set. Yeah, regardless of them being really kind and really good leaders and someone that I would feel very comfortable submitting under, they're good friends and they're fun to have around. There's never a dull moment when both of them are in the room, because they're funny, their sense of humor, their timing, their comedic timing is just perfect. So they know how to lift a room up. They know how to keep things, light. And what's awesome is that they're the type of people that wherever they are around, stress is nowhere near them. They have such a peace, and I think they get that from their dad, Pastor Danny, because the whole church can be burning down and that man is calm in the middle of the storm. So I think that they are really good at besides being really good at what they do, they're super fun and they know how to keep things light and fun even while there's 1,000 things happening at the same time. Mauri has introduced us to a lot of good people, a lot of creative people, and specifically I'd say Matt. Matt is a sound engineer that has worked with a lot of cool churches, but it's not just who he's worked with, it's how he works. His creativity, his perception, his profound understanding of life, creativity, your imagination, I think makes him so good at what he does, because his style is so distinctive and his ability to hear what other people are not hearing is very captivating, because when you see someone work with so much passion, it kind of motivates you to like, hey, like I want that same feeling. I want that same focus, concentration, and even creativity within my own line of work. And he is so funny too. The way that he dresses, everything about him screams creativity. He is one of the most colorful people I've met. He's so vibrant in how he does things, and it's very hard to see him mad or stressed. He enjoys what he does so much that even if things are burning, he has a mentality of, oh, just count it all as joy. I'm just happy to be here. And then he can fix the problem at the same time,
It is 8:47 p.m. 47 p.m. Saturday, last day of the event, last day of the conference. Tired but excited because good things came out of it. The whole team got to be together during the last session, which was priority as we had mentioned before. And I hope you guys enjoyed from this, learned. If there's anything else you guys might want to see with the people that you saw during this event, these people are family, they're friends, and we're honored to serve alongside them. So I guess this is the official signing out. Thank you guys for watching, and we really appreciate it.
I think for those who are going through a tough time, maybe as creatives, right? And creativity goes far beyond media, music. I think anyone who gives the Holy Spirit room to flow within them is capable of being creative. And I think that when we label ourselves as creatives, we have to understand that it's more than just a title. Since we're so visual and we can visualize the good and the bad, and our creativity is very neutral, we get to decide what we want to manifest. And I've heard this say before, that worry is to use your imagination to manifest something you don't want in your life. And I think that since our imaginations are neutral, your mindset, your framework, where we create from, you have to be very intentional about that. So Seneca once wrote in a letter that there are more things likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than we do in reality. And I feel like that's been such a part of my life as a creative. Growing up, being misunderstood, being bullied, I always thought that there was something wrong with me. when I started to understand that my imagination was linked to my faith, was linked to my uniqueness, I started to really figure out that knowing who you are as a person has a lot to do with your creative experience and your creative journey. How can you create something pure? How can you create something good if you don't even know who you are? I think something that we've learned throughout this whole season is learning how to rest. I think Anthony and I have been so caught up in survival mode that today was the same as yesterday. And when you live life like that, always on autopilot, it sucks because you're not really living life. You're reacting to it rather than actually experiencing, or at least being the type of person that creates a reaction to the life that they're living. In order for us to be healthy, I think rest is a huge component. And I want to be very specific and intentional when I talk about rest. I'm not talking about sleep. I understand this as much as the next guy. I could sleep 12 hours a day and still wake up and be restless, because rest is not just physical. Prayer, for example. I feel the most rested when I pray. I could have slept 4 hours and have an event the next day, and if I pray the night before or I pray that morning, I can go 14 hours and I'm good to go. So I think that, let's say you don't believe in prayer, but there's some type of spirituality in your life, I think that you have to connect in a way where there is that profound revelation of, hey, it's not just sleep. Like, I need to zoom out of my problem. I need to gain perspective. I need to be grateful that I'm alive, that I'm healthy. And I've gone through this before. I'm so caught up with the business and what it's not happening and where we should be and why we're not there, that I forget to realize I'm healthy. I have food in front of me. I have a roof over my head. And I think that rest really allows us to be focused, and it allows us to be in a place where we're situationally and spiritually aware of what's happening in our lives. And when you're in that state of mind, creativity can flow more profoundly in your life than in any other type of headspace. So if there's anything I can leave you all with, is that you allow yourself to rest, especially in this new season. I think there's such a need for creative leadership. There's such a need for us as creatives to arise and be the change that we want to see in the world, but we can't be distracted and too busy because we're stressed out and anxious all the time. I think if we are to be the most creative generation and be useful and bring the innovation, bring the change we want to see in this world, we have to be well rested. Hey guys, thank you so much for staying into the very, very end. And if you're watching this, you guys are the real ones. We just kind of want to introduce something. We've been posting a lot of behind the scenes the last couple of weeks, and maybe you've seen something like what I'm wearing, or maybe something like this, right? So we have 3 variations, or 2 versions. We have the black, right, that you guys have seen a lot, and then we have 2 cream color shirts, one with a blue astronaut and the other with a red one. And some of you have asked what the text here means, and this is a Easter egg for a project I've been working on for the last couple of years, and I'm hoping that soon it can be released. But until then, you're just gonna have to hurry up and wait. But we just want to say thank you to everyone who supported us, and we want to wish everyone a very happy New Year's. And we hope the next year is good for all of you, your families, good health, and we're just very grateful for you all. So thank you for your time, for your support, and all the love you guys have shown us, and we will see you next year.